Hey everyone, Duke here, and today I'm going to show you a couple ways to get high stat and spiky stat armor in order to improve your builds for endgame PvE and PvP content. I'm going to go over 4 specific ways to get this high stat armor, but the strategy I'm going to use to maximize the stat distribution for the first 2 tips is actually something you can use all the time in all parts of the game. My first tip for high stat armor is to use Umbral Engrams at the Prismatic Recaster using the Tier 3 focusing engrams. You will need an Umbral Engram, 10 legendary shards, and 600 parallax trajectory in order to focus these engrams. Note that you can only do 4 of these focuses a week, so make sure to make use of your weekly focuses before it resets every Tuesday. There's an additional tip that I want to include when focusing these engrams. I would pick the 2 stats you want to try to focus your build around most. For me, that's recovery and intellect. Whichever out of those 2 stats that you care about most is going to be the type of focused engram you go for, which again in my case is recovery. On top of that, you can use the economic ghost mod slot on your ghost to slot in an armorer mod, which will ensure that stat has at least a 10 roll and a more likely chance to roll even higher. So for me, I roll recovery engrams while using intellect armorer in order to get both of those stats as high as possible. Note that as I mentioned, you can use these armorer mods at all times to ensure that every single armor piece you get from all activities will have at least 10 in the stat that you choose. A second really effective way to use these armorer mods is going to be through completing encounters in Master Vault of Glass. It can actually also be useful in the normal mode of Vault of Glass, or any raid for that matter, just due to raid armor having high stats in general, and ensuring that the stat that you want from your ghost mod is at least 10 will be helpful. But the reason that Master Vogue specifically is so useful is due to the guaranteed high stat armor drops from every encounter each week. If you didn't know, every week there is a different stat that is guaranteed to drop from your first completion of every encounter in Master Vogue. For the current week that I'm making this video, that stat is mobility. So if I wanted mobility and intellect, for example, I could again have the intellect armor mod equipped while completing Master Vogue encounters to get mobility and intellect high stat armor. I know that not everyone is interested in, or maybe leveled for, something as challenging as Master Vogue, but with how long this season is, more and more people will be geared enough to attempt it as the season goes on, and this tip will give you the best chance to get some really great gear while doing so, on top of the various time-lost weapons for completing the challenges. My third tip for acquiring high stat gear is checking with Xur every weekend. Xur sells a full set of legendary armor now for every character. And this armor tends to be high total stat armor, usually 60 or higher, and can also have some nice spiky stats above 20 as well. Xur arrives in a different location each Friday reset and stays around until Tuesday reset. I also try to make a video detailing the best gear he has for sale each weekend, so come back to the channel to check out those every Friday. And my fourth and final tip, and probably the absolutely simplest tip, is checking with the various vendors around the tower, as well as Devrim on the EDZ, and failsafe on Nessus. Until a few months ago, I was completely unaware that these vendors could even sell high stat armor, but they sell a few worthy pieces just about every single week for every single class. The vendor gear is around all week and refreshes every Tuesday reset. And as with Xur, I make videos on this vendor gear every single Tuesday, so if you're looking for some solid armor for any class, make sure to check out those videos as well. I hope these tips for finding high stat armor for your classes was helpful. There's definitely even more ways to obtain some really great armor stats, so make sure to comment below with some of your favorite ones to use personally. And as always, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.